Hello, my name is Michelle, and today we're doing a tutorial. Circles, circles everywhere. Oops, you can't see this one. Circles, circles everywhere. Circles, circles in your hair. Okay, not really. What we're talking about is how to make circles so that they're flat. And also we're going to talk about the difference between whether they kind of look more pointy and look more hexagons or a lot more round. This is much bigger than the others because I added on some information that I hadn't done in my original that told you how I got it to be even more round than my original ones. So we're doing single crochets, we are doing double crochets, and we are doing half double crochets, and we're talking about how many increases you need and where to do your increases, as well as how that looks between all the different things. So let's get started. Let's go over to the creation station and create some circles to begin all of our circles. If you know how to do a magic ring, then please do a magic ring or whatever feels best to you. Because this is a beginner, I'm just going to do some chain stitches, and these are what we use to start the beginning of every one of our circles for the chain stitch. Check the iCards for our tutorial, and we chain 2. This is to make the hole in the middle as small as possible. We're going to make this circle using single crochets. So to learn single crochet, you're welcome to come up to the tutorial in the iCards. What you are going to do is you've chained 2, and you are going to single crochet in this first chain, which is the second chain from the hook. You're going to single crochet 6 times. 6 is a magic number for single crocheting circles. Now you may find that your knot loosens up. I tend to do a couple and then try to go on the other side of the knot. I think that makes it a little bit easier. So that was 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 is the magic number for rings made. So when you tighten up the string, it closes that up. 6 is the magic number for rings made with the single crochet. I like to count back to make sure I'm really going in the right stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, here's the thing with single crochets, depending on your pattern, you may just keep going in this round and put a stitch marker there. I'm just going to use a bobby pin because it's the easiest to find right now. So I'm just going to put it in the top of my first stitch, and then I'm going to do 2 single crochets in my first stitch, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around, so you have a total of 12. So that was 2, and sometimes I count it like 3, 2, and then I go 4, 2, and the 2 is because I'm doing a second stitch in that same exact spot. 5, 2, and 6, 2. And you may just want to count to 12, or you may have some other way of counting. It's really up to you. And then the next round, you're going to keep going. You'll take your stitch out and you'll do your single crochet in there, and you're going to put your thing in. And depending on your pattern and your directions, you may put a second one in this stitch, and then you're going to do, so that's 2 in one stitch and 1 in the next stitch, and then you'll do 2, 2, 3, and then you'll do 3, 2, 3. Reminds me of counting for exercising. 4, 2, 3, because you could go like exercising and go 1, 2 in the same stitch, and then count this last stitch as 5, and then it would be just like exercising. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 6. 6, 2, and then one more in the last one. Okay, so this is one way to do a circle. If you noticed, this is going up by 6. So we did 6 in the first one. We did 6 increases by doing 2 in each stitch, and so we did 12 in the second round, and then we did 18 in the this last round because we did 1 increase for every 3 stitches there. Like, that didn't come out right. We increased 6 times. So every round with the single crochet, you are going to increase. Now this one here just has a spiral, and it just keeps doing a spiral. And when you get it to the size you want, you'll just do a slip stitch in the next one, and that's your circle. There are times that I like this one. I don't use this very often. So I'm going to undo this, and we're going to start again, and I'm going to teach you the way I do it. And different patterns will call for different things. The key concept here is it doesn't matter how you're doing it. If you want your single crochet circle to lay flat, you increase by 6 each round. So you'll start off again with your chain, do the same thing. You do your single crochets all in that second chain from the hook, which is the first chain. 6 single crochets, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to go through this, and I'm actually going to do a slip stitch and end my round. So instead of going up in a spiral, I'm going to go like that and end my round. I'm going to chain 1 to get myself up to the right height for single crochets. I'm going to, again, we're increasing by 6. So we had 6, we're going to make 12, so that means 2 stitches in each one. 1, 2, and if I count my way, it's 2, 2, and then 3, 2, and then 4, 2, and then 5, 2, and then 6, 2. Okay, so now I have 12 stitches around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I'm going to slip stitch in the top of that stitch, and I'm going to chain 1 to get myself up. Now again, we're increasing by 6. We have 12, we need it to become 18, so we're going to do 2 stitches in the first stitch, 1, 2, and then 1 stitch in the next one, and then this is 2 stitches, 1 stitch in the next stitch, and 3, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, and 5, 2, 1. I guess I'm counting backwards there, but that's okay. 6, 2, 1. The truth is, it does not matter how you count as long as you get to the number of stitches that you need. I'm going to go on the top of my first stitch. Okay, and then we're going to increase again by 6. And so this time we're gonna do 2 in the first one. I'm gonna show you 2 ways to do this, and I'm gonna do one. We're probably gonna go a couple more rows to show you the increases, and then I'm gonna show you a different way to do it and why to do it a different way. It still is going to use 6 increases on each row. So we just went up to 18. We have 6, 12, 18. And if you ever are wondering what row am I on, you can count them. 6, 12, 18. The first little circle is 6, the next row is 12, and then 18. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 in the stitch, and then I need to go 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Okay, and then I'm going to put 2 in the next one, and then I'm going to do 2 single crochets. Okay, I'm going to put my increase in the next one, and then I'm going to do 2 more single crochets. So each little section has 4 stitches in it. So increase here, that was 2, 3, 4. And then I can, if I want to count like this, I can go 5, 2, 3, 4, and 6, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to do my slip stitch in the top. And then we're going to do another one. So we're going to go up. This time we are going to do our 2 single crochets in here. It's our increase. That's 1, 2. So last time we did 4 stitches, so we need to do 5. So we're going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to be into the next one. And so 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and don't let that go. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. What are we on? 5, 2? 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to attach in the top. So let's do one more round. Now we just did 5, so this time we're going to do 6, which means at the end we'll have 36 stitches, because 6 times 6 is 36. So I'm going to do 2 stitches, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I could just go 1, 2, remembering that my first 2 are in the same thing, 3, 4, 5, 6, because I'll know that I'm at the end. If I just keep counting to 6 when I get over here, I'll know that I'm at the end. So I could just do that. I don't have to count the first stitch. I can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm just going to attach it in the top here, and I'm going to tie this off. Okay, so this is our little circle. The thing about this is, I don't know if you can tell, but it's starting to get little corners. And if you're making, like if this is the bottom of the basket, so you're just gonna start it up into a basket after you get to the size you want. Those little corners aren't too bad. I made a train hat last Christmas, and the fact that it did these actually kind of worked in the favor of the pattern, because it kind of gave the hat a little bit of a unique shape that isn't quite perfectly round. So that was kind of cool. But it does, like, the bigger you get, the more pronounced these corners get, and the more and more you go, the more and more it looks like a hexagon. So there are ways to fix that. So I'm going to set that aside and using the same color. Okay, so I'm going to start the same. In fact, the first two rounds are exactly the same. So I will meet you when I am done. I've got my circle around to here. The thing I'm teaching you works whether you're doing it in a spiral or this way. The spiral, it takes longer before the hexagon shows up. I think it takes a little bit longer, but it still eventually does show up. So you get to decide if you are kind of picking odds and evens. What we are going to do is alternate where our increases are. So I'm going to start just like normal. I'm going to do my increases at the beginning on my odd rows. So I'm going to increase there and then add my one stitch. Increase there and one stitch, and I will meet you when I'm around. Come around, do my single or slip stitch to the top. All right, this is an even row. I need to do 4 stitches, so I'm gonna do my stitch here, and this time I'm going to put my increase at the end. So I'm gonna do 1 stitch and then 2 stitches, and then I'm gonna put my increase. 3, 4. So I'm going to do 1 stitch, 2 stitches, and then I'm going to put my increase by doing 2 in that stitch. 1, 2 in the same stitch. I'm going to do 1 stitch, whoops, 2 stitches, and then I'm going to put my increase in that 3rd stitch. I'm going to do 1 stitch in the next one. I keep losing this. My first time using this hook. Where was I? 1, 2, and then 3, 4 in this stitch. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you can see, I have 3 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch in the top of my first stitch. And I'm going to chain 1, and now this is my odd row. So in my odd row, I'm going to do my increases at the beginning of the row. So I'm going to do 2 stitches in that first one. And I'm going to do 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, for a total of 5 stitches. And I will meet you when I get back around. Okay, I'm around. I'm going to go on the top of here, and then I'm going to do chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet in 4, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 single crochets in the next one. Because this is an even number, I'm putting my increases at the end of the little section. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then put my increase. And as you're increasing, you're going to increase each time by 6 each round. You can make these as big as you want. And you're just going to keep alternating where you put your increase. Odd rows, you are going to put it at the beginning, even rows at the end. 2 stitches in my last one, slip stitch to the top, and I'm going to bind off. And then we're going to compare. See, if you look, there's like a little bit right here just because that's the last one, but you can hardly see it when you compare the two. It just gives you a rounder one, and the bigger you get, like I said, the more obvious these get each round. So this is always going to be just that tiny little bit that if you wanted to just kind of stretch it just a little bit all the way around, it just looks like a circle. This one here, you can kind of stretch it out, but it's still got the hexagon look to it. So even if you're reading a pattern and the pattern tells you to stack them on top of each other like this, if you want, you can use that same technique of alternating odds and evens, even for a pattern that's written like this. If you know that the outcome is meant to be a circle, if you know that it will be a benefit for it to be more hexagon, go ahead and follow the hexagon. But that's just a little tip for you to know. So these are single crochets. So let's talk double crochets. For the double crochet, I'm going to start with, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to do a double crochet in that last chain. And that counts as 2. Your chain's going to count as 1, 2. You're going to do 12 double crochets in this stitch. 12 is your magic number. You may have some that have you leave a little bit more of a hole in the middle. That's because the hole in the middle is part of the aesthetic, is to have a hole in the middle, but you'll still probably have the same increases. 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. So I'm going to count my chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You are not likely going to be told to keep doing a spiral. Maybe you would. We're just going to hook at the top of the chains there. Do a single or a slip stitch, and then you're going to chain 3, and then this time we are increasing by 12. So you're going to do 2 double crochet in each one around. 2 double crochets in each and every one of these, all the way around. So that was 2. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then you are going to slip stitch at the top of your chain. Okay, so that's 24 stitches around. Now here's something interesting to note. This kind of wants to curl a little bit. That's because I'm using kind of a smaller hook than what I would typically use for my yarn. So your gauge may affect it, but I can completely flatten this out for any project. It's not going to be like, if you just kind of stretch it a little bit, it's pretty flat. So your hook size can very much affect your gauge. Chain 3 and double crochet in the same one. And then we're increasing by 12 again, so that was 2, 1 in the next one, 2 in the next one, 1 in the next one, 2 in the next one, and 1 in the next one. And I'm going to meet you around at the end here. Okay, as I hooked around, what's interesting to note is, yes, this outer edge is curving up, but my inner one that was curving up before is actually staying flat. So that's kind of funny. Anyway, that is 36 stitches around. Just like with the single crochet, you would alternate your increases for your odd rows at the beginning of the row and even rows at the end of the row. It's not quite as noticeable with double crochets, so if you don't do that, it's not as big of a deal. It would eventually catch up with you, but it's not too bad. I'm curious how my size-wise compares to it with 36 stitches of double crochet around to 36 stitches of single crochet. Pretty close, a little bit of difference. This is definitely tighter, but that also could just be the way that I crochet. I might have crocheted it tighter. So anyway, that is that. You need to remember that for single crochet you increase 6, for double crochet you increase 12, and every row. So my next row I would do 2 stitches in a double crochet, 2 in the next one, double crochet, 2 in the next one, and then the next row I would do 2 double crochets and 1, 2, 3, an increase 1, 2, 3, an increase 1, 2, 3, and I'd switch back and forth and those. So next we're going to talk about one that's a little bit more complicated in some ways. I forgot to mention double crochet is got a tutorial up there. This time we're doing the half double crochet, and so we're gonna do 3 at the beginning. We're gonna do a half double crochet in that first stitch and half double crochet again. If you don't know how to do a half double crochet, check out the tutorial. Okay, you're gonna do, this is where it's controversial, I guess, or I didn't understand why. You are going to do, they want you to do 8, usually. Patterns usually call for 8 half double crochets. So we're going to do 8 half double crochets. The first chains counting as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I always thought it was kind of weird. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where's my beginning? Top of that chain. I always thought it was kind of weird to do 8 because 6 and 12 for the other two, I always thought it should be 9. So you can, depending on what you're doing, you can make it 9. I saw one website do 10. That was weird to me. Usually people do 8, and I think it's because it usually lines up with 24 and 48 and that kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's a preference. And so you can try it. You're going to increase by 8. Okay. So that means 2. In fact, I think what we'll do, just for experiment's sake, is we'll do 2 of these. We'll do one with 8 and one with 9 and compare them. And we're going to hook it in the top of our chain here at the end. Okay. Chain 2. And just like before, I'm going to do 2. My chain counts as the first one, so I'm going to do 1 in the next stitch. And then I'm going to do 2. And 1 in the next stitch. These should be going up in multiples of 8, so you should have had 8, 16, and then this one's 24. Okay, and then my next one, I'm going to do my 2, and I'm going to count that as my first stitch, and I'm going to do 2 half double crochets, and then I'm going to increase in the next one because this is an even row. So I half double crochet in the next one, half double crochet in the next one, and then an increase. And I'm going to do that around, and I will have 32 stitches when I'm done. Okay, just like with the other ones, you'll keep increasing 1 stitch each time you go around. You always increase by 8, and it does make a fairly flat circle. Because it's 32 stitches, it's actually smaller even than so the smallest of them. Okay, and I'm going to set this aside for a minute. I'm going to try 9, and then we will compare how it looks to do 9. And so 9 should take me up. You would increase by 9. So you're going to put 9 stitches, 9 half double crochets in the center. And then you're going to increase by 9 each time around. So you're going to do 2 half double crochets in the second row, 2 in each one, which takes you up to 18, sorry. Okay. And then just like before, I'm going to do 2 in my first one, 1 in my next stitch. There we go. What the heck? Oh, that's just beautiful. Okay, I got 27 now. I'm going to go for 36. So I'm going to do 1 in this one and 2 in a second stitch. Whoops, I'm doing half doubles, not doubles, and then increase in the third stitch. I got interrupted by a phone call, so I kept going. It was my daughter, so I had to answer. Anyway, this is even, so I'm doing stitch, stitch, increase, And because we're doing by 9s, this is 36 stitches around. And I'm going to cut it. And here's this one. It's actually, see, I think 9 works just well. I have that weirdness, so I have extra strings. And here's the 8 that kind of turns into a little bowl. I'm surprised it turned into a bowl. I wasn't expecting that. And then here's 36 stitches. It's a little bit smaller than the single crochet, which is a little bit smaller than the double crochet. And oh, actually, that one's the same. This one must be a little bit smaller than that one. It does feel a little bit denser. So depending on how your hook size is, 36. A lot of people do 8, but if you're doing your own pattern and you're trying to make a circle, go ahead and do 9. It makes sense to me to do 9 because you do 6 and 12, and halfway between that is 9, so it makes sense to me. But a lot of patterns do call for 8. The most important thing is that if you do 8 or 9, if you do 9, you increase by 9. If you do 8, you increase by 8. Always increase by 12 if you want it to be flat, and by 6 if you want it to be flat. And then remember that your gauge, how tight you are crocheting, could make a huge difference. I do notice that my circles, when I'm working in the round, I tend to crochet tighter than when I am crocheting flat. And then this yarn is just a little bit thinner, and so I think that affected my gauge as well. But there you have it. Single crochet circles, half double crochet circles, and double crochet circles. As I was editing this, I remembered that I needed to explain another way of doing the increases and kind of why you would choose it. So I reattached my yarn so I can show you. So when you do your increases right on top of each other, they create the little point. When we do them at the beginning and then at the end and the beginning at the end, they still are pretty close to each other, so you still get a little bit of a point. So there's a third way that you can do it. You would still keep your odds and evens. So your odd rows, you would do your 2 single crochets in the same stitch at the beginning, and you would start with your increase. And then you do your sets around whatever number you are on. But for your even rows, you're actually going to try and put your increase somewhere in between, so it's kind of far away from the 2 ends. So I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3. So I've started my thing by moving over 3. And now for a minute, I'm just going to kind of think of, this is the beginning of my sections. So I'm going to do an increase, and then I'm going to do my 5 stitches around. Okay, and then I'm going to do an increase in that stitch, and I'm going to do 5 around, and I will meet you when we've finished, and it's going to be somewhere around here that we finish. Okay. So I started out with my 3 stitches, and then I did my increase 5, increase 5, increase 5, increase 5, all the way until I got here, and I just finished with a 5. What we did by moving over here is we kind of divided that sixth section. So I've got 3 stitches of it on this side of my join, and then I need to put all of the rest of my stitches on this. So I'm going to do an increase, just like I started the rest of my sections. I can really say that word well. And so there was 3 here, so I have 2 more left. And then my whole 6th section is there. It's just divided over the thing. As you can already see, that rounded this out quite a bit. And as I kept going and kind of shifting my increase from the beginning to somewhere in the middle, to the beginning till somewhere in the middle, it's going to offset it enough that it will stay looking more circular instead of going hexagonal. Let me do this next round. I'm going to do my increase in the first stitch, and then I'm going to do 6 single crochets, and I'm going to do 6 sets of that. Getting around here, joining at the top, and as you can see, it's still pretty round. Next is I'm going to come over, I think I'm going to come over 5 stitches. I'm going to do my increase in 7 around. So 1 increase, 7 single crochets for each section. And this makes it so that I'm going past where my increases are. I'm kind of staggering where they are. As you can see, this is much rounder than it has been. And when I get back over to here after doing my increase 7, increase 7, increase 7, when I get over to here, I'll meet back up with you. So I did 5 stitches before my increase. I'm doing 7 stitches between each increase. So I have an increase here. I'm going to put in 1 more increase because I need 1 more increase in my row. And between my increases, I need 7 stitches. I've got 5 over here, so I need 2 more for a total of 7 stitches. And that's what you're going to have to do. Wherever you put your second increase. And this works the same for half double crochets and double crochets. If you want to have a less chance of there being any kind of point, you can barely see where any of my increases are. It stayed really round, and it's because I've got my odd rows I'm increasing right at my join. My even rows I'm distributing, well, that was loud, and I'm putting it in the middle, somewhere in the middle, just away from those ends. Some of the things you can do, you can make a bunch of these and tie in your ends and make them a couple of things bigger and have coasters. So there you go, I taught you how to make coasters. Remember to let your light shine through your creations, and I will see you guys next time.